The hidden danger in goalie masks. Today's video is going to be the most important one I've done in 10 years of making videos and writing articles. Today we're going to talk about current goalie masks, the problems with them, and why I fully believe that somebody's going to die in the ice if we don't solve this problem now. Obviously, it takes a weird individual to be a goalie. We get pucks in the head, we get injuries, we get crashed on. It hurts, it's embarrassing. But one thing we've got to have is a great helmet. Now the helmet technology is exceptional. It prevents a lot of injury. We're going to walk through it and why there exists a current problem that we have to solve. Let's take a look at the current mask. This mask is designed, pucks above the nose are going to glance off and go to the corner. They don't have any flat surfaces, so pucks glance. That puts a very limited amount of force in the goalie's head. Jaw and down, now we have some more square contact. And we'll see today in a video where you can see a 160-mile-an-hour puck, what it does to a Warwick mask, how it compresses the mask, how it makes the snaps go flying off. But that is the crux of the problem. Motorcycle helmets, car racing helmets, they all have to be rated for primary contact or violence, so like the first hit, and they also have to have secondary certification so that they're there in place for secondary collision. This is the problem in the NHL right now. We've got clips upon clips of scary situations. One of the goalies I trained, Jeremy Swayman, he had his helmet jostled, sort of came off a little bit, and then a puck arrived like a split second later from the point, would have killed him. Stolar's, Toronto Maple Leafs, helmet's been off 4 or 5 times this year. These snaps just go flying. And now we're trying to make a save without a helmet on. So on that topic, I don't want you to take my word for it. I assembled some of the smartest, brightest people in the world to come up with a solution, because I'm not that smart. I can pick the problem, solution, maybe a little bit more difficult. I reached out to 4 physicists that have PHD in physics. Reached out to a concussion expert who's involved with the NFL, talking about concussions, helmet safety, and that stuff. I talked to the inventor of the goalie mask, Greg Harrison. Now, Greg invented the helmet cage combo. I also spoke to Gary Warwick, who's had a dozen goalies in the NHL wearing his helmets. So I've assembled a core group of experts to identify the reality of the situation, what's happening from a physics point of view, and then at the end, I propose some solutions, simple solutions to solve this. Now, let's get into the first thing. My biggest issue is the goalies make the save, helmet comes off, now they got to make a secondary save without a helmet. I don't need to tell you the obvious risk and implications of that. So we got to fix the secondary collision aspect of the helmet to make them safer to stay in place. Number one, we look at other sports. We look at how these snaps are attached. There is no design, and again, don't get upset if you mistakenly believe this. But there's no design, not one physicist alive will say it, that the mask snapping off in any way contributes to the safety of the goalie. In fact, when you see all the video and the slow-mo, you'll notice that by the time those snaps come flying off, the force has already entered the goalie's head. It's a millisecond later, but it is later, so it in any way cannot mitigate the danger to the goalie. And in fact, you know, taking a snap off takes a tiny bit of energy. That is not going to help subtract from the massive amount of force you're getting off the initial contact. So we need to have better snaps, metal snaps. You need to replace your snaps, probably the cheap plastic things that you have, every month. In fact, when I talked to the manufacturers about this, they said something very clearly. They didn't design these snaps to come off. They just went to China, Vietnam, or offshore, wherever they can find these plastic snaps, buy them in bulk, and throw them on the $2,000 helmet. So for me, the weakness is the snaps. Well, my grandson, Max, has a player's helmet. Now, Bowers came up with a kind of unique system that you see here, where the buckle doesn't just press on the button, the buckle or the snap slides on top of it, and I think mechanically is more likely to stay in place because of that arrangement, keeping the mask in place for that dangerous secondary collision. Another thing, and you're never going to get a pro to do it, and you can see in my pictures here, when I played, I had the strapping go up beside my ears on top of the mask, like Hellebuck does. And I did it because I could get my mask up. All the fans could see how beautiful I am when I'm drinking my water. But the reality is, I could keep the mask down and still drink if I had to. And there's a lot of goalies in the NHL that I can show you pictures of that do drink through the mask. So the mask coming up isn't a requisite. But the one thing that would keep it from coming up is that supplemental chin strap that minor hockey kids have to wear, which is in addition to the chin cup arrangement. Now, a lot of people just want to go with the chin cup. They'll say, it's about the heat, I get too hot, I got to get the breath, I got to drink. There's a million reasons. But for me, you can disagree with me if you want. I played in the NHL. I know why we want the helmet to go up and down easy. It's so vanity, so people can see us, so we can drink, so we can cool off. But it all could be done in a safer way. If you want to keep the chin strap on, that's going to keep the helmet in place, even if these two buckles decide to go. So, new buckles, better buckles. Replace the buckles more frequently. And if you're so inclined and you don't care about people seeing your face and you can keep your mask down all game, put on a chin strap. Formula One drivers wear it, NFL football players wear it. It seems like a good, safe idea. Now, again, when we get into the whole helmet discussion, we got to talk about the past. Now, before the new helmet cage combo that Greg Harrison invented, we had the helmet like Chris Osgood would wear, SK2000, Cat's Eye, and I had the SK2000 red helmet when I played Division I. I received a puck on the front of the helmet that stuck in the plastic without cutting it, gave me a 20-stitch cut, made me unconscious, and the puck stuck in the helmet. And the funny thing back then was we had no issue with concussions. I was back in practice the Monday from the Saturday of that happening, waking up in the hospital. And in fact, they gave me back the same piece of crap helmet. They just pulled the puck out, put a little donut on my head, the big knot I had there over the stitches, and I practiced 48 hours after being knocked unconscious, which would explain a lot. My name is Steve McKeekan. I played in the NHL, I coached in the NHL, and I'm going to coach and transform your game. I've coached goaltenders for over 30 years, including people like Ed Belfour, Jeremy Swayman, all the way down to the Little Smurfs. I'm going to coach and transform your game with our brand new Future Pro Goaltending Masterclass. This is an elegantly curated document in an easy-to-use format, plus video clip support. Join Future Pro Masterclass, a one-time fee of $99. Sign up today. All right, to help illustrate in very good detail what we're talking about, I wanted to get the marker board out to illustrate some of these forces involved with the snaps and the helmet. Let's walk through this. We've got a side view of the helmet. Obviously, I'm one of the best drawers of helmets in the history of goalie equipment, guys. Look how amazing that is. See the eyes, the nose, where the chin is. And we're looking at the mask from the side view. Pucks are coming in for here from the front. Any puck that hits above the eyes or up here tends to hit and glance off. That's the premise of the mask, is to create glancing blows. A shot up here that glances off isn't going to put a lot of force into the goalie's head. Likewise, if it hits and comes straight back the same way it did, that's likely to put a lot more force in your brain. Here's where we get into the issue, is from the nose down. These pucks that hit the chin and area in here are causing these snaps to release. And you can see there's a difference in depth. The chin is ahead of those straps. And so when a puck strikes the front of the mask, the weight is carried on the chin and on the forehead. So the initial force happens right here. All that force goes into the brain. Then as the force transfers through the helmet in that ripple wave, then it pops the snap off. So you can see the gap in duration. And like in a car, you want the airbag to be in front of the body to help cushion so it doesn't kill the goalie. That's why if the bars dent in a little bit, it's not a bad thing, because it's accepting force that doesn't go into your head in front of your nose, in front of your eyes. The problem with the snaps coming off is a bad problem, but it doesn't in any way mitigate the force that goes into the head. Now, if you can follow this, we look at the top view looking down from the ceiling. There's the goalie's head, there's his nose. Here's that same puck coming in. You got your back plate and your straps back there, and the famous buckles here by the chin that have been snapping off, allowing the helmet to release, causing the risk of secondary injury. Again, pucks coming in this way, you can see the initial point of contact at the front of the mask, and then the force goes through into the brain. And you can see these clips are back here by the ears and jaw area. So the force has already had a chance to get into the head, into the jaw, into the chin before those snaps release. So that should conclusively show you that. I wanted to even do a final project, and you'll see the video here, but I wanted to diagram it for you. If you look down here at my bottom diagram, you'll see this on the pool table. I put 3 balls straight in a row. I molded this little fake chin piece, hard plastic, foam behind it, and this is similar to what you see in a goalie mask with the jaw area. The puck hits here and the sides want to flesh out like that, like you'll see in the video. But again, it provides some evidence to the timing of this. So when the puck comes in to hit that jaw area, you'll notice in the video, these 3 balls start to move backwards, which means they've already received their force. Then, a millisecond later, these push outward. At your jaw, which is what's releasing the snaps. And you can see from the video clearly that these 2 balls don't start moving away from the side, which will be illustrating the snap release, until well after these 3 balls keep moving, which is evidence of all this force going into your head.